Intuitives. As always, I'm going to try to get another video in before I have to go to work because it's not Monday, so I have to work. That is my only day off. And while this video is, of course, going to encompass INFJs, it's going to deal with demisexuals of all personalities, because not all demisexuals are INFJs, or ENFJs for that matter, but the majority of those of us that are INFJ or ENFJ usually fall under the category of demisexual. I would say a majority of it. So, while I've discussed in previous videos, my anecdotes and my experiences of what it's been like to grow up as a male demisexual INFJ, before I knew what the hell that meant, and, the struggles with it and how I didn't fit in and how I was different from all the other, straight guys I grew up with, I want to do a video about the signs that you may be a demisexual yourself. If you come across this, nobody talking on a YouTube channel and you're like, what the fuck does demisexual mean? So we're going to get into the signs of, what it is, the signs that show if you are a demisexual or not. And one of the biggest ones is demisexuals are not big fans of physical touch in the casual sense. People we don't know, acquaintances, people we haven't developed an emotional bond with, we're not going to enjoy like randomly making out with them, grinding on the dance floor, etc. Some stuff I've read also say that, demisexuals aren't even comfortable with prolonged hugs. I argue against that one for INFJs and ENFJs, and for us, that's because, like, holding somebody or an extended hug, that goes into our empathetic nature and our willingness to help others in their time of need. So we are, very comfortable with that usually in a situation that is not sexual. It's unwanted sexual contact. Yeah, we're not fans of, at all. It's uncomfortable. It's cringy. We don't even like to really see it. Demisexuals often find like, nude scenes in movies cringy. Yeah, because, well, A, they're fake, and B, it's like those two characters like don't even know each other. Like, hookups are weird. I'm an alien. So another point is, if you're growing up as a demisexual, particularly as a male, because being demisexual does seem to be a little more acceptable for females than it is for, males, because, male dude, bro, bounce the ball, make the money, bang the chicks. Yeah. You grow up feeling like an alien, like there's something wrong with you, like you don't fit in anywhere, because you're driven by your own goals and by your integrity. You're not driven to have meaningless sex with as many people as possible. Your career choices aren't geared towards gotta make the money, get the girls, drive the fancy car. We're not driven by materialism or surface level stuff. So that idea that one would completely change who they are in order to essentially create a fictional character in order to get a woman into bed just once to like con her, hit it and quit it. No, that doesn't even, we can't even process that. That makes no sense. It has given me migraines trying to. And as a demisexual man, it has often pissed me off a lot growing up, like listening to the quote locker room talk and the objectification and sexual exploitation of my female peers by, the guys who are just looking to get laid, and, their whole objective and goal is to use one of these women to fulfill their needs and then kick them to the curb. That has flared up the old INFJ rage more times than I'll admit. I didn't go to jail though. So there's that. Emotional bonds are extremely important to you if you're a demisexual. It is the cornerstone or the keystone of developing a sexual attraction to somebody. If you cannot have that deep emotional bond where you just enjoy talking to one another for hours on end and you deeply like this person for who they are and not just for what they look like. The person can be, a gorgeous, very sexual stripper who throws themselves at you, or a gorgeous model, and you will still not go to bed with them. And I am speaking from experience this on those two accounts, trust me. So, you know, no, there's not something wrong with you. You're just not a demisexual, and there's no, breaking that wall, no matter how attracted you may be to somebody, because without an emotional connection, anything sexual is just awkward and cringy and scary. We don't want to do that. INFJs, the confusion is that like we don't enjoy sex, or sorry, not INFJs, demisexuals, or demisexual INFJs, because many INFJs are, as I've said, see, I fixed it. Demisexuals, we have like pretty high sex drives under the right circumstances, so it's not like when we do find that deep connection and you're in, a committed relationship with somebody, that there's not going to be a lot of sexual activity. There is, but that is because you've fulfilled those prerequisites with that person in order to feel comfortable expressing your sexuality. Demisexuals are often also like very sensual too. We're not just about getting off. We often care deeply about our partner's needs, and usually will put their needs ahead of ours, though that may be an INFJ and not a demisexual thing. Hard for me to tell, as I'm both. So, uh, demisexuals are often dubbed as prudes, and that, again, kind of a misunderstanding, because it's not like we're boring sexually when in a committed relationship with somebody. It's just we're not just going to just jump in the bed with an acquaintance or someone we met at a bar. In order to express our sexuality, we must be comfortable with that person and, know them and feel that emotional connection. So, again, we often get lumped in with asexuals and stuff, but we're just as sexually expressive as censors in their casual hookup cultures when our parameters are met to actually have an emotional connection with somebody. Demisexuals, yeah, we're very much into love and unconditional love. We long for unconditional love and a meaningful relationship, but not for physical touch. A demisexual will not be like, oh, I haven't gotten laid in 6 months or a year or 2 years, or man, getting closer to 3. But that doesn't matter to us. It's not that we long for, getting off and just having sex. We long for that deep emotional connection with somebody, finding love, finding potentially unconditional love, and not being able to find that, or even any, real prospects that could realistically lead to that, is what frustrates a demisexual, not just, the old, got blue balls, bro. You know, yeah. So we're different like that too. Not really a point of being a demisexual, but it's important to know you are not alone. You know, unlike me, who was a teenager in the early and mid 2000s, and channels like this and others that know what they're doing didn't exist, and really no one knew what the fuck a demisexual was, and I thought it was just me. There was something wrong with me, possibly a result of brain damage from the concussions I had over the years, as many hockey players undergo, or people who get in fights. But no, there are more demisexuals than people realize. I mean, yes, we are very much a minority, but many people try to hide that fact about themselves, even if they don't know what it means. Especially men. Men will try to hide, like, oh yeah, bro, I hooked up with this many girls and, banged her last night. When in reality, it's a lie. You just don't want to be made fun of. But you also hate yourself for even saying that, because the idea that you would take advantage of someone and thus have them sleep with you and have that person regret it the next morning, that is absolutely repulsive to us. I can honestly say I've never had a one night stand or, anything like that. None of my partners have regretted being with me, though it is a single digit number. Yeah. Ooh, I said that on tape and I don't know how to edit it out. Oh well. To demisexuals, the hookup culture makes no sense to us. Not only do we have no wish to engage in it, we don't understand it. We don't understand why anybody would, want to just have casual sex or even casual relationships, why they would settle for that instead of seeking a deep emotional connection with somebody, even if that person is essentially a blue rose that is nearly impossible to find. We still hold out hope that they are there somewhere, just not in Chester County, obviously, but that indeed that person does exist, and it is just a matter of, I don't know, fate, luck, being given a fair shot. I don't know. I'm not so good at that. Uh, Demisexuals, while we can, be like, wow, that person's hot and get aroused, we don't have that pull to act on that physical attraction, as we need more than physical attraction to be comfortable even being, sexually intimate with somebody in any way, not just intercourse. For us, like physical attraction, sexual arousal, will lead us to try to talk to that person, unless you're like a teenage INFJ male, and then you're just terrified to make the first move, and even in your 30s, you'll overthink the shit out of it. But that'll lead us to at least want to talk to that person. Probably because we have to overthink anything. If you're a demisexual, you'll gain intel on the person through, mutual friends, acquaintances, and stuff, and then overthink it for a couple weeks, and then after they start dating somebody else, you will make your move. And then you'll have to expose that person for the scumbag they really are. Just say. And your intuition will usually be right. But you'll be the villain for exposing that guy because he was into Cool Click and you're that awkward introvert guy who is kind of funny but, isn't like everybody else. Oh, college. Okay. Being demisexual, you usually don't rate, like strangers' hotness. We don't play the whole hot or not game. As a demisexual, while physical attraction is important, it's not the end all be all. Like, if somebody is a quote 10 in attractiveness, but you don't relate to them at all, they're just a, mindless materialist with no deep thought, it's like, out. Whereas you could find somebody that maybe you rates like a 7 in attractiveness to whatever the fuck your preferences are. But, they're everything you want that in them, personality, who they are as a person, etc. Bam, take that, that person you're going to be all over, and you're not going to give a fuck when everybody else around you is like, oh, but bro, you could hook up with her, and she's so much hotter. It's like, yeah, she can't even hold a conversation for 5 minutes. Like, she cares about money and status and, you know, people, you know, thinking she's cool. It's like, I don't care about that. Not that I have anything against that person. It's just I have no desire to form a relationship with that person because it would not ever work. Online dating is, not for demisexuals at all. We really don't even understand it. Many of us will try it, but we'll realize very quickly, like, yeah, this ain't gonna work. For demisexuals, sex is about connection, expressing your emotions towards that person, seeking that deep spiritual bond. It's, you know, as much, if not more, about, a spiritual connection, an emotional connection, and expressing your love for that person more so than just, getting off raw, busted nut, you know. And a big one for demisexuals, I've been saving this, we don't get flirting in the sense that, yes, we can flirt with somebody, but as far as noticing if somebody is flirting with us, we are blind. I mean, like Mr. Magoo blind. Like, we cannot see it. And particularly for INFJs, this is quite the enigma because as intuitives, being introverted intuition being our dominant function, we can read people and be pretty fucking scary accurate. But if somebody is flirting with us, we'll second guess it, we'll overthink it, we'll think that, we're being used as a prop, we're misunderstanding it, they're looking at somebody else. We never think that somebody is actually flirting with us. It can even get like, ridiculous, whereas somebody will throw themselves at us and we'll be like, nah, that can't be. So, you know, if you're interested in somebody who's demisexual and you're flirting with them and they're not reciprocating or they can't tell, but if it seems like the demisexual is flirting with you, it probably means they're interested, but they can't notice that you're flirting, and also, especially if it's at like a party or a bar scene, they're pretty uncomfortable. So if you think that demisexual person is potentially interested in you, ask the demisexual, to talk to you one on one, see if they'll open up, because in order for a demisexual to potentially see someone as a romantic interest, they must be comfortable enough to open up to you first, and we have to be able to let our guards down. And in like a group setting where you got like five of your friends and you're all trying to interrogate me, that's not gonna work well. So you have to let your guard down too and show who you really are, and then we'll be like, oh, and we'll let our guard down. But you got to do it first, because especially INFJ demisexuals, we're very guarded. Trust is very important to us, and we've all been burned in the past. Demisexuals actually do have a deep imagination about sexual fantasies, and they often involve, or always involve, forming a deep romantic connection to that person first. It's, again, not just about the physical act of sex. We imagine, sex is just a part of the grand scheme of the whole love story, and, well, especially INFJs, we live in our heads more than we don't, more than we should, probably. So we'll spend a lot of time thinking about that and how we can will that into reality. But it's like a game of chess, and it takes a lot of moves. So nothing just happens for demisexuals. We're not like spontaneous in that regard. Especially INFJs, because that whole always forward thinking and all or nothing stuff that we suffer from will make us want to think things through, see how it's going to play out. Like, oh yeah, this will be a fun 2 month fling. It's like, demisexual is not going to bother. So there are some signs that if you relate to some, most, or all of these, you are most likely a demisexual, and I suggest that you, if you're unfamiliar with that, find out what it means, because you'll be like, oh yeah, I'm not alone, and that'll make you feel a little better, and you'll feel like less of a freak in this world that is made for extroverts and our dating world, which is mostly dominated by the casual hookup scene. I hope this video helped. I got other demisexual videos. Go take a watch. I need the views. Please like and subscribe, and let my, albeit unprofessional, not know what I'm doing videos reach other people, because they may help them. And, demisexuals, especially INFJs, if you think someone's flirting with you, trust your intuition on it, and, don't sell out your integrity just to try to fit in with the